My name is Dirk Hughes, Director of the Michigan Masonic Museum and Library. The month of December is usually a busy time for many people, including the Freemasons. And it's not just because we are preparing for the holidays like everyone else, but because it is often the same month individual lodges hold their annual installation of officers, the official ceremony that inaugurates their local leadership for the ensuing year. With hundreds of lodges around the state, you can be sure there are hundreds of officer installations going on in December as well, each one conducted in a formalized manner, the same way we've been doing it for generations. And though some may be small, intimate ceremonies attended by just the brothers of that specific lodge, others are often open to friends, family, and guests, offering the chance for non-Masons to get a glimpse of Masonic ritual and to hear some fundamental concepts of our Masonic teachings. This episode of our Masonic documentation series gives you the best seat in the house at what may be the most spectacular of these annual events in the state of Michigan, a multi-lodge installation of officers that has been hosted by Owosso Lodge number 81 for the past 6 years. On December 17, 2016, our Grand Master of Michigan, Most Worshipful Brother William Finkel, went to Owosso to preside over the installation of 8 different lodge officer lines at the same time with the help of other Grand Lodge representatives. We invite you to join us now for that multi-lodge installation, and we hope you find the ceremony and the messages throughout as inspiring as they were for those of us who were there that night.
I love doing installations. I think it means a lot. You know, we only get a couple of chances to do stuff with the public present. And this is important that we do something like this with people here so they can see some of the ritual and the splendor that goes with Masonry.
The Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Michigan. Worshipful Master, I would like to introduce to you and through you to the officers, members, and guests, Most Worshipful Brother William Finkel, Grand Master of Masons of Michigan.
Worshipful Master.
Most worshipful. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Let's go to the east. All right, together, brethren, join me in giving Most Worshipful Master grand honor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good evening. It's great to be back here in Owosso for this great occasion. I would like to introduce the Grand Lodge officers that were traveling with me tonight. Starting on my right is Worshipful Brother Leonard Davis, Grand Steward. Worshipful Brother Fred Miller. Hang on. And Mrs. Davis is up there. Hey, can't mess up now. It's too close to Christmas, okay? Worshipful Brother Fred Miller, Grand Steward, and his wife Mary. Most Worshipful Brother Walter Wheeler, past Grand Master. Worshipful Brother Larry Inchko, the Grand Marshal. Right Worshipful Brother Josh Woodwike, Deputy Grand Master. Worshipful Brother Tim Beers, Worshipful Junior Grand Deacon, and Victoria. Thank you. Worshipful Brother Jerry Millar, the Grand Musician, and his wife Jane. Worshipful Brother Eugene Abatico, Grand Steward. And Brother Gary Bowler, the Grand Master's aide. Please welcome these brothers with a big round of applause because they've traveled a long way. Thank you. Brethren of Owosso, Byron, Lansing, Williamston, North Newburgh, Elsie, Purry, and Weberville, You here behold these brothers, each of whom, having been duly chosen, now declares himself ready for installation. If you know of a valid reason why any one of them should not be installed, state your objection now, or else forever after hold your peace. There be no objection, I shall now proceed with the installation. Brethren, the first lesson that we are taught in Masonry is that no man should ever enter upon any great and important undertaking without first invoking the blessing of deity.
Most holy and glorious God, we approach thee with reverence and implore thy blessings on these brothers appointed to preside over their lodges. Fill their hearts with thy love, that their tongues and actions may proclaim thy glory. Make them steadfast in thy service. Grant them firmness of mind. Animate their hearts and strengthen their endeavors. May they teach thy judgments and thy laws, and be thy true and faithful servants. Bless them, O Lord, and bless the work of their hands. Accept us in mercy. Hear thou our prayers, and grant our earnest supplication. Amen.
So Lord be.
Worshipful Grand Marshal,
Most worshipful sir,
present the worshipful masters-elect at the altar for installation.
most worshipful sir, the worship masters-elect of their lodge, to receive at your hands the rite of installation, to better to qualify them for the discharge of the duties of their important office. I believe them to be of good morals and of great skill, true and trusty, and as they are lovers of our fraternity wheresoever dispersed over the face of the earth, I doubt not that they will discharge their duties with fidelity, with honor to themselves, and with profit to the craft.
Brethren, from time immemorial, it has been an established custom among the fraternity of free and accepted Masons, once a year at a stated period, to elect from among those who have served in a chartered lodge as warden, an expert craftsman to preside over them as worshipful master. He must have been initiated, passed, and raised in the 3 established degrees. He must be a lover of our noble science and have held the office of warden. He ought to be of good report, true, trusty, and held in high esteem among his brethren and fellows. He ought to be exemplary in his conduct, courteous in his manner, easy in his address, steady and pure in principle, zealous for the welfare of his lodge, able and willing to undertake the management of the work, and well skilled in the ancient charges, regulations, and landmarks. Will you, my brothers, undertake the duties of worshipful master of your lodge under these requirements?
Yes, I will.
Then I shall direct your attention to the ancient charges and regulations, which point out the duties of the master of each lodge, and to each of which your unqualified assent is required. You agree to be a good man and true, and strictly to obey the moral law.
I do.
I do.
You agree to be a peaceful citizen, and cheerfully to conform to the laws of the country in which you reside.
I do.
I do.
You promise not to be concerned in plots and conspiracies against the government, but patiently to submit to the law and the constituted authorities.
I do.
I do.
You agree to pay a proper respect to the civil magistrate, to work diligently, live creditably, and act honorably by all men.
I do.
I do.
You agree to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of the Order of Masonry and their regular successors, supreme and subordinate, according to their stations, and to submit to the awards and resolutions of your brethren in lodge convened, in every case consistent with the constitution of the order.
I do.
I do.
You agree to avoid private piques and quarrels, and to guard against intemperance and excesses.
I do.
I do. I do.
You agree to be cautious in your behavior, courteous to your brethren, and faithful to your lodge.
I
I do.
You promise to respect genuine brethren, and to discountenance impostors and all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry.
I
I do.
You agree to promote the general good of society, to cultivate the social virtues, and propagate the knowledge of the mystic art.
I do.
I do.
You promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly installed, and strictly to conform to every edict of the Grand Lodge, or General Assembly of Masons, that is not subversive of the principles and groundwork of Masonry.
I do.
I do.
You admit that it is not in the power of any man or body of men to make innovations in the body of Masonry.
I do.
I do.
You promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge on receiving proper notice, and to perform all the duties of Masonry on convenient occasions.
I do.
I do.
You admit that no new lodge can be formed without the permission of the Grand Lodge, and that no countenance be given any irregular lodge, or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charges of the fraternity.
I do.
I do.
You admit that no person can be regularly made a Mason in, nor admitted to any regular lodge, without previous notice and due inquiry into his character.
I do.
I do.
You agree that no visitors shall be received in your lodge without due examination and producing proper vouchers of their having been initiated into a regular lodge.
I do.
I do.
These, my brethren, are the regulations of free and accepted Masons. Do you submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations as masters have done in all ages before you?
I do.
I do.
Having by your consent to our established regulations signified your intentions well and worthily to administer the important duties of your high office, you will advance to the altar and kneel on both knees. Masons only, please. Brethren, say aye. Just the Mason. Pronounce your name in full and repeat after me. In the presence of Almighty God
In the presence of Almighty God
and these witnesses,
and these witnesses,
do hereby solemnly promise
do hereby solemnly promise
that I will accept the office
that I will accept the office
of Worshipful Master
of Worshipful Master
of
Owosso 81.
no trick question.
Perry 350.
Elsie 238.
North Newburgh, 161.
Williamston 153.
Of Lansing, 33.
Byron Lodge, number 80.
And the duties of that high office
And the duties
Of that high office,
faithfully,
faithfully,
zealously,
zealously,
and impartially administer
and impartially administer
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
for the ensuing 12 months,
for the ensuing 12 months,
and until a successor
and until a successor
shall have been duly elected
shall have been duly elected
and installed in my stead.
and installed in my stead.
I further promise that I will not,
I further promise that I will not,
during my term of office,
during my term of office,
nor at any other time,
nor any other time,
that the Lodge shall be under my direction,
that the lodge shall be under my direction,
permit or suffer
permit or suffer
any deviation
any deviation
from the established usages
from the established usages
and customs of the fraternity.
and customs of the fraternity.
Further, that I will not perform,
Further, that I will not perform,
nor cause nor suffer
nor cause nor suffer,
to be performed
to be performed
in my lodge
in my lodge
any rite or ceremony
any rite or ceremony
contrary to
contrary to
or subversive of
or subversive of
our ancient institution,
our ancient institution,
but that I will support,
but that I will support,
uphold, and maintain
uphold, and maintain
pure and unsullied
pure and unsullied
the genuine tenets
the genuine tenets
and principles of the craft.
and principles of the craft.
Further, that I will observe,
Further, that I will observe,
and to the utmost of my power and ability,
and to the utmost of my power and ability,
strictly enforce obedience
strictly enforce obedience
to those charges and regulations
to those charges and regulations
to which I have already
to which I have already
given my assent,
given my assent,
to the bylaws of my lodge,
to the bylaws of my lodge,
and to the Constitution,
and to the Constitution,
laws,
laws,
edicts,
edicts,
rituals, and ceremonies
rituals, and ceremonies
of the Grand Lodge,
of the Grand Lodge,
and that I will in all things
and that I will in all things
conscientiously discharge my duties
conscientiously discharge my duties
as a ruler of the craft
as a ruler of the craft
and as worshipful master of my lodge.
and as worshipful master of my lodge.
So help me God,
So help me God,
and keep me steadfast
and keep me steadfast
in this my solemn obligation.
in this my solemn obligation.
You will now arise and be invested with the insignia of your office and with the furniture and implements of your lodge. The various implements of our profession are all emblematical of the virtues which should characterize your daily life, and to them your attention cannot be too frequently directed. The Holy Bible, a great light in masonry, will guide you to all truth. It will direct your paths to the temple of happiness and point out to you the whole duty of man. The square is the distinguishing jewel of your office. It is an instrument made use of by operative masons to square their work. But we, as free and accepted masons, making use of the tools of the operative craft as symbols for our moral instruction, are taught to make use of it for the more noble and glorious purpose of squaring our actions by the square of virtue. The compasses enables the operative workman with accuracy and precision to determine the limits and proportions of the several parts of his work. As free and accepted masons, they teach us to regulate our desires in every station, so that rising to eminence by merit, we may live respected and die regretted. The Book of Constitutions you ought to search at all times. Cause it to be read in your lodge, that none may pretend ignorance of the excellent precepts it enjoins. You now receive in your charge the charter or warrant from the Grand Lodge of this jurisdiction, which alone gives authority to your lodge to meet and work, and without the presence of which no meeting of the lodge would be lawful. This you are carefully to preserve. In no case should it ever be out of your immediate control until at the expiration of your term you shall have duly transmitted it to your successor in office. I need not remind you, my brothers, that charters are passed through the hands of many talented, highly esteemed and distinguished men and brethren. And in committing this charter to your care, we feel sure that its value will be properly appreciated. I also confide your care the bylaws of your lodge, which regulates the detail of its own peculiar and private affairs. These bylaws you are always to see carefully and punctually executed. You will now be conducted to the east. Masons only, please. Worshipful masters, behold your brethren. Brethren, behold your worshipful masters. Brethren, together attend the grand honors, taking your time from the worshipful Grand Marshal. Brethren, please place your right hand over your heart and together repeat the oath of fidelity. To the high purposes of universal masonry.
To the high purposes of universal masonry.
To brotherly love, relief, and truth.
To brotherly love, relief, and truth.
To the upbuilding of my lodge.
To the upbuilding of my lodge.
The promotion of harmony among its members.
The promotion of harmony among its members.
To the realization of its highest ideals.
To the realization of its highest ideals.
Of character and of life.
Of character and of life.
To the stretching forth of our hands.
To the stretching forth of our hands.
To aid and support a fallen brother.
To aid and support a fallen brother.
And to the vindication of his character.
And to the vindication of his character.
Behind his back.
Behind his back.
As well as before his face.
As well as before his face.
We here and now pledge anew.
We here and now pledge anew.
Our most earnest and unceasing efforts.
Our most earnest and unceasing efforts.
Amen.
So mote it be.
So mote it be. Worshipful Grand Marshal.
Most worshipful sir,
present the several officers-elect in order for installation.
My brothers, you have been elected senior warden of your respective lodges and are invested with the jewel of your office, which is the level. The level demonstrates that we are all descended from the same stock, partake of the same nature, share the same hopes. And though distinctions among men are necessary to preserve subordination and resulting order, yet no eminence of station should make us forget that we are brethren, and that he who is placed on the lowest spoke of fortune's wheel may be entitled to our regard, because the time will come, and the wisest knows not how soon, when all distinctions but that of virtue shall cease, and death, that great leveler of human greatness, will reduce us to the same state. Your regular attendance at your stated meetings is essentially necessary. In the absence of your worshipful master, you are to rule and govern your lodge. In his presence, strengthen and support him. I firmly rely on your knowledge of Masonry and your attachment to your lodge for the faithful discharge of the duties of your important trust. Look well to the west. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the junior wardens-elect of their lodge for installation.
Brothers, having been duly elected junior warden of this lodge, of your lodge, you're now invested with the jewel of your office, which is the plum. The plum admonishes us to walk uprightly, to hold the scales of justice with equal poise, to observe the just distinction between intemperance and pleasure, and to make our passions and prejudices coincide with the line of our duty. To you is committed the superintendence of the craft during the hour of refreshment. It is, therefore, indispensably necessary that you not only be temperate and discreet in the indulgence of your own inclinations, but carefully to observe that none of the craft be suffered to cause the means of refreshment into intemperance or excess. Your regular and punctual attendance is particularly requested, and I have no doubt that you will well and faithfully perform the duties of your important trust. Look well to the south.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the treasurers-elect of their lodges for installation.
My brothers, you have been elected treasurer of your lodge and are now invested with the jewel of your office, which is the crossed keys, an emblem of security. It is your duty to receive all monies due the lodge from the hands of the secretary, keep a correct account of the same, and pay them out by order of the worshipful master and the consent of the lodge. I trust your regard for the fraternity will prompt you to the faithful discharge of the duties of your important trust.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the secretaries-elect of their lodges for installation.
Brothers, having been elected secretary of your lodge, you're now invested with the jewel of your office, which is the crossed pens, a most appropriate emblem of your duties. It is your duty to record all the proceedings of the lodge, make a fair record of all things proper to be written, receive all monies due the lodge, paying them over to the treasurer. Your good inclination towards Masonry and to your lodge will, I hope, induce you to discharge the duties of your office with fidelity, and by so doing you'll merit the esteem and applause of your brethren.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the chaplains appointed of their lodges for installation.
My brothers, you have been appointed chaplain of your lodge and are now invested with the jewel of your office, which is appropriately an open Bible. It is your duty to perform those solemn services which we should constantly render to our infinite Creator, and which, when offered by one whose holy profession is to point to heaven and lead the way, may, by refining our souls, strengthening our minds, and purifying our conduct, prepare us for admission into the society of those above, whose happiness will be as endless as it is perfect.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the senior deacons-elect of their lodges for installation.
Brothers, as you have been duly elected senior deacon of your lodge, you are now invested with the jewel of your office, which is the square and compass enclosing a blazing sun. It is your duty to attend on the worshipful master. This is proxy in all the active duties of the lodge, such as the reception of candidates into the different degrees of masonry, the introduction and accommodation of visiting brothers, and other duties. The impressiveness of all the ceremonies of the lodge will largely depend upon the dignity and efficiency with which you perform your duties, and I have no doubt that these duties in your hands will receive due care and attention.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the junior deacons-elect of their lodges for installation.
My brothers, having been duly elected junior deacon of your lodge, you are now invested with the jewel of your office, which is a square and compass enclosing a half moon. The similarity of your jewel to that of the senior deacon indicates in a measure the similarity of your duties to his. You are the active proxy of the wardens, and it is also your duty to see that the lodge is duly tiled. I doubt not that you will be diligent and faithful in the discharge of your duties.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the brother stewards elected and appointed of their lodges for installation.
Brothers, having been elected or appointed stewards of your lodge, you are now each invested with the jewel of your office, which is the cornucopia, signifying plenty, symbolic of your duties when the brethren are at refreshment. It is your duty to see that the tables are properly furnished at refreshment and that every brother is properly provided for. When the lodge is at work, you also have important duties as assistants to the deacons and other officers in performing their respective duties. Your regular and prompt attendance will afford the best proof of your zeal and attachment to your lodge.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the marshals appointed of their lodge for installation.
My brothers, you have been appointed marshal of your lodge and are now invested with the jewel of your office, which is the crossed batons, an emblem of your authoritative directing power. It is your province to have charge of the lodge on all public occasions when it is in line of march, and you will, therefore, be responsible for the appearance of the brethren on those public occasions, both as to the manner and dignity of their dress and the skill with which they perform the various evolutions prescribed by our Masonic ceremonies. While in the lodge, your station will be near the master, in order that you may assist him by every means in your power, in the quiet and orderly disposition of the business of the lodge, and in the conduct of its work. I have no doubt that you will exercise your best endeavors to discharge properly the duties of your office.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the tilers appointed of their lodges for installation.
Brothers, having been appointed tiler of this lodge, you are now invested with the jewel and implement of your office. As the sword is placed in the hands of the tiler, just hold it. Thank you very much. Thank you. To enable him to effectually guard against the approach of cowards and eavesdroppers, and suffer none to pass or repass without permission, so it should admonish us to set a guard over our thoughts, a watch over our lips, and post a sentinel over our actions, thereby preventing the approach of any unworthy thought or deed to our hearts, preserving our conscience void of offense towards God and man.
Most worshipful sir, I now present the lodge educational officers appointed for installation.
My brothers, you have been appointed educational officers of your lodges, and the jewel of your office is the lamp of knowledge. This is actually a new position created by Grand Lodge last year, and we congratulate each of you and thank you for accepting the responsibility of educating the members of your lodge. on Masonic jurisprudence, history, everything to do with Freemasonry. It's your job to teach them. We appreciate very much your interest in the welfare of your lodge. Congratulations.
Yeah, come on.
All right, let's go.
Worshipful Master, the Grand Lodge having committed your care, the superintendents and government of the brethren who compose your lodge, I place in your hand the gavel. Just pass it down the line there. The emblem of your authority as a ruler of the craft. You cannot be insensible of the obligations which devolve on you as their head, nor of your responsibilities for the faithful discharge of the important duties attached to your office. The honor, reputation, and usefulness of your lodge will materially depend upon the skill and assiduity with which you manage its concerns, while the happiness of its members will be generally promoted in proportion to the zeal and ability with which you propagate the genuine principles of the institution. As a pattern for imitation, consider the sun, which rising in the east regularly diffuses light and luster to all within its circle. In like manner, it is your province to spread and communicate light and instruction to the brethren of your lodge. Forcibly impress upon them the dignity and high character of Masonry, and seriously admonish them never to disgrace it. Charge them to practice out of the lodge those duties they have been taught in it, and by amiable, discreet, and virtuous conduct to convince mankind of the goodness of the institution, so that when any man is said to be a member of it, the world may know that he is one to whom the burdened heart may pour out its sorrow, to whom distress may proffer its suit, whose hand is guided by justice, and whose heart is expanded by benevolence. In short, by a diligent observance of the bylaws of your lodge, the Constitution of Masonry, and above all, the Holy Scriptures, which are given as a rule and guide of your faith, you will be enabled to acquit yourself with honor and satisfaction, and lay up a crown of rejoicing that shall continue until time shall be no more. Thank you. Come on, buddy, I'll take you back. Brother Senior and Junior Wardens, please stand.
Brother Senior and Junior Wardens, you are too well acquainted with the principles of Masonry to warrant any distrust that you will be found wanting in the discharge of your respective duties. Suffice it to mention, what you have found praiseworthy in others, you should certainly imitate. And what in them may appear defective, you should in yourselves amend. You should be examples of good order and regularity. For it is only by the due regards for the laws and your own conduct that you may expect obedience to them from others. You are assiduously to assist the Master in the discharge of his trust, diffusing light and imparting knowledge to all whom he shall place under your care. In the absence of the Master, you will succeed to higher duties. Your requirements must therefore be such that the craft may never suffer for the want of proper instructions. From the spirit you have hitherto evinced, I entertain no doubt that your future conduct will be such as to merit the applause of your brethren and the testimony of a good conscience.
Would all Masons please rise? My brothers, such is the nature of our Constitution, that as some must of necessity rule and teach, so others must of course learn to submit and obey. Humility in both is an essential duty. The officers who have been chosen to govern these lodges are sufficiently conversant with the rules of propriety and the laws of the institution to warrant any distrust that they will be found wanting in the discharge of their respective duties. And you are of too generous disposition to envy their preferment. I therefore trust that you will have but one aim: to please each other, and to unite in the grand design of being happy and communicating happiness. Finally, my brethren, as this institution has been formed and perfected in so much unity and concord, in which we greatly rejoice, so may it ere long continue. May you enjoy every satisfaction and delight which disinterested friendship can afford. May kindness and brotherly affection distinguish your conduct as men and Masons. Within your peaceful walls, may your children and your children's children celebrate with joy and gratitude the annual reoccurrence of this auspicious solemnity. And may the tenets of our noble order be transmitted through your lodge, pure and unimpaired, from generation to generation.
Worshipful Grand Marshal,
Most worshipful sir,
make the proclamation.
in the name of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the State of Michigan, I proclaim that the officers of Owosso Lodge number 81, Byron Lodge number 80, Lansing Lodge number 33, Williamston Lodge number 153, North Newburgh Lodge number 161, Elsie Lodge number 238, Perry Lodge number 350, Weberville Lodge number 485 have been duly installed. This I proclaim to the south, to the west, and from the east. The craft will take due notice thereof and govern themselves accordingly. Brethren, together attend grand honors.
Worshipful Master, I'm done, and you're starting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
We want to thank you for joining us at the 2016 Multi-Lodge installation. We hope you agree that the noble lessons you heard during the ceremony and the explanations behind the symbolic meaning of each officer emblem are not just for the benefit of tradition or members of the craft, but can be appreciated by and applied to the lives of everyone on a daily basis in today's world, reinforcing standards of character to make us all better people. I'm Dirk Hughes with the Michigan Masonic Museum and Library. Until next time.